Hi, welcome high school football fans. We are live right here at the Jungle, just outside the field level gate here at Dick Meter Stadium at beautiful Lawrenceburg High School, one of the best high school football settings that there is. We'll talk about that and much more. My name is Tom Gamble, former radio guy, Showdown organizer of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. He is former UC Bearcats quarterback who has a very nice likeness of himself that's going to be displayed. We'll get to that at some point tonight. He's Tony Pike. Tony, how are we doing tonight?
I'm great. Year 22 for the Showdown.
It is.
22 years.
How about that?
The Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown, and it took me all of 3 minutes of sitting down here to realize how much I miss high school Friday night football already.
Well, that's why you're here. That's why we got you involved in this tonight.
It is. Playing at every level, and people talk about it at high school. They say, well, there's nothing like Friday night lights. Like, I'm going to play college football. Then you get a chance to play NFL, and it's like, no, there's nothing like this. The camaraderie, the fan base, you're playing in front of your fans and your the students that go to the school. There's nothing like the bond on these fields, and to be a part of that and get to share that and get back into that is a great thing.
Well, and I think tonight's a great example at a tremendous Southeast Indiana rivalry. Not too far apart, East Central travels over here to Lawrenceburg this evening. First week of play, they have the 9-game regular season in Indiana. Then all the teams go to the postseason. Kentucky, you can play tonight. Some choose to, some choose not to. It's called Week 0, which makes virtually no sense. But what they have in Kentucky is they have 11 weeks to play 10 games. So you can not start tonight, play 10 straight, take a break in the middle. Some choose to take it late. And then, of course, Ohio begins next week, and they have a 10-game regular season. So you obviously played at Reading High School in Ohio in that format. Different format back when you played them today. Different. But if you had to choose between the three, do you have one that you favor?
I love the way that Kentucky implements a bye week. I mean, when you look at the style of football in this area, Indiana, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio, it's a physical brand of football. And you go through 10 straight weeks of that, and then you add in the playoffs, bumps and bruises, injuries. It just gives guys a chance to catch their breath. And you get it at the next level. You get it at the college level, and there's a reason for that to kind of reset. Because you look at what these kids that you're about to see play tonight. They do some spring ball. They do summer, winter conditioning. They do 2-a-days preseason camp. And then they're right into it. That's when you bunch all that together, that's a lot of football being played. Sometimes you need that week. And I think it's better strategically for those coaches to see, okay, when are we going to take our bye? When are we going to give these guys a little bit of a reset?
So I want to welcome everybody listening tonight on either Cincinnati.com or also we've got the Amazon Fire and Roku. If you're a subscriber to either of those two, you can listen on the Fox 19 app. And also on Fox 19's Facebook Live page. So let's set what we've got tonight because we got a big show planned. We're on until about 6:45 till they kick things inside the stadium. But Joe Danneman and Jeremy Rao from Fox 19 Sports, they'll be joining us next segment. We'll talk about a lot of things with those guys, including this game, the rivalry, and their top 19 countdown, which I know tonight they're going to hit number 8 on air. We've already gone number 19 through 9. I'm curious to see how they do that, how they arrive at what will be next Friday night when they'll count down the number. I think I've got maybe an inkling of who that top 1 is, but nonetheless.
I'm curious to see how those two have done it with the amount of talent that is in high school football in this area this year. How do you even count it down to just 19? That's tough.
Well, no, this has to be one of, in recent memory for me, this is definitively, I believe, almost, and I think I had a little sneak preview maybe, but I think all but maybe one of the top 19 are participating in the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. So we'll talk to Joe and Jeremy. Also, Lindsay Patterson from Cincinnati.com. She'll join us a little bit later in this hour. We've got both coaches coming on with us as well. Coach Ryan Kaniga of the Lawrenceburg Tigers. He'll join us just after 5:30. And then Jake Miners, the first-year coach, right after 6 o'clock. He'll join us as well. So we've got a lot planned. You're going to pick some games.
I'm going to pick some games. I'm not putting on any headgear.
No headgear.
No torso headgear.
We've got the helmets, though, and I love this. You mentioned about Friday nights, and our theme with the Showdown this year is nothing better than Friday nights.
There isn't.
Because we truly believe, and this is what it's all about. It's about communities. It's about rivalries. And this is one that's been going on a long time, but stopped for 5 years.
Yep.
It was renewed a couple years ago with the first game here, which was a great football game, part of the Showdown. It kicked off the season that year. It was 15-14. East Central won. And, when you look at the success of these programs, over the last, I think 6 of the last 8 seasons, Lawrenceburg's had a winning year. They went to the state final a couple years back. East Central's a couple years removed from winning a Class 4A state championship. They've won 4 straight sectionals. And when you look at what makes a rivalry even better is when you've got the quality of programs that these two programs are.
Yeah, it's one thing to say this is our rival because they're close and it's a lopsided game, but when you see what both of these programs have done, not only historically but over the last couple of years, then it adds that much to that rivalry because it makes the competition on the field that much more meaningful. It's not just, okay, we're going to go beat our rival and then move on. This is a game, and an interesting game that we'll talk to the coaches about week 1.
Tough.
It's interesting to put your rival game week 1 because you still got a full season whether you win or lose after that. So it's interesting to see how everything falls from this. A lot of that is how these coaches get those guys to bounce back. But you mentioned it, high school football. You mix in Skyline Chili.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You mix in this atmosphere here, the jungle, how
cool.
A very unique setting that you don't see anywhere around high school football. It's fun to be around, and again, it doesn't take very long to bring you back. And for me, not just playing, I had 2 younger brothers that played high school football, one at Reading and one at Elder. So I've experienced it all, and I could say there's nothing like this around.
Well, we're going to catch the essence of this, too. You mentioned the jungle. It's their tailgate area, which is just off of Route 50. And to me, that's what makes this setting so cool is literally we are sitting here. Fortunately, we're not driving because we're not going anywhere on Route 50 here in Southeast
Everyone
Indiana.
stopped to watch it.
They are, no question. We can wave to them maybe a little bit. But what's going to happen is they're going to do a walk. The Lawrenceburg football team will convene right over here. We're going to capture some of this a little later. This will come just after 6:30, but they walk through the jungle, and then they enter right behind us here onto the field and get ready for the game. So that's I love the traditions like that, and a lot of high schools have them, and we'll obviously have that here a little bit later.
Well, you have the traditions, and you have the meaningfulness of high school football because for a group of seniors on both sides tonight, the last time they start a season of football. Not everyone goes and plays college football, so this is, for some, their last home opener. For some, their last first game of their football career. So to be here tonight, to be here to kick off the football season, to kick off the Showdown, you can tell by the atmosphere here, you'll be able to tell when these players walk by how much this means to everybody.
And I would tell you, looking at these two teams, I think relative unknown. Everybody, everybody's undefeated. Everybody thinks, that they've got the team that's going to be better maybe than the previous year or continue what they've done. And, for East Central, you look at 15-3. That's their postseason record over the last 4 years. And Lawrenceburg, uncharacteristic last year.
Yeah.
They wound up 5-6. But if you look at the close games that they had, they could have very easily won 7, maybe even 8 games, but they had a very young team. When you start a freshman quarterback who's now a sophomore, they've got 10 returning starters on both sides of the football tonight, whereas East Central still has depth, has size, has a good defense, but certainly was riddled maybe a little bit more by graduation than Lawrenceburg was.
Well, we can get into the X's and O's of the game, but no doubt East Central is going to rely on their defense. And no doubt Lawrenceburg, when you return 10 starters, that's a meaningful thing. That's 10 guys that have played together. That's 10 guys that have went through some highs and lows together. And when you know the guys around you, you have an understanding of, okay, how does this guy take a negative play? How does this guy take a positive play, a negative game? So growing and going through that stuff as a freshman, that only makes you better going into your sophomore, your junior, your senior season. So very interesting to see the team that comes back for Lawrenceburg with a little bit of a revenge taste in their mouth.
Sure.
Versus a team in East Central that says, yeah, we lost people, but wait a second. We've still been at the top for the last couple of years. Don't forget about us. So 2 great storylines coming in. And it's the best thing about this. You get to settle it when we go off the air tonight.
Yeah, no question. I'd like to welcome everybody again to the Tailgate at the Showdown. It's our inaugural broadcast. We'll be doing 6 of these throughout the high school football season. We'll give you our schedule a little bit later. It's also the kickoff of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown tonight. You mentioned our 22-year anniversary. Presented by Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Meyer. Some good folks who have been with us for a long time. Want to thank Fox 19 Now, Cincinnati.com for also being a part of the event. And the Cumulus folks, the radio folks, they're here tonight as well. I'm Tom Gamble. He's Tony Pike, former UC quarterback. You'll be seeing him at a Bearcats game near you, hearing you, right?
Yeah.
You cover it all now. This gets you in the high school realm. You do the Bearcats sideline, and you also do a lot of stuff with the Bengals, Fox Sports Ohio, and things of that nature, right?
All over the place.
You are. You're everywhere.
The final quarter
Yes.
What Joe and Jeremy do in the final quarter.
Awesome.
Really good stuff.
Fun.
For high school sports coverage.
Yes.
The amount of games that they reach. It's like, okay, how do you reach so many games on a Friday night? They're able to do that every Friday night on the final quarter. And it means a lot to a school. You know, I've come from a school like Reading.
Absolutely.
To see your highlights on a broadcast and to see people talk about you when you think it's okay, the Division I. They do a great job. They encompass everything. Great stuff from the final quarter as well.
There's a reason why when we put this broadcast together and I took a look at the TV stations and I said, these guys are it. I mean, they have a great rapport. They do get along. For anybody who wonders, they actually do like one another. But they have fun. And I think the kids, I've heard a number of high school football players. Yeah. They come up with the nicknames. They do the fun stuff. And so we're going to have them on momentarily talking about some of the things that they do and the countdown and how they did that.
Joe had a handwritten letter from Luke Kuechly.
That was impressive.
And you know
what? We'll let him tell that story again because he told it at the Showdown VIP kickoff party.
He mistold it a little bit. It was the second Carolina Panther player from locally here.
Are we going to go through this again now? I mean, really. Dude, you just need to straighten out your mustache on your bobblehead. Because if that is actually a likeness of you, if you looked that bad back then, that was shameful. That was awful.
If I looked like that then I need to reinvest in my friends.
Didn't they come to you and say, didn't you get to approve that? Didn't they say, like, man, and you could have said, like, my left side of my mustache is farther down than my right? No?
Nope.
No, huh?
That's a good lead-in to get into a break.
It is, and I hear
how I did that?
Okay, you did very well, because I can't see 10 feet in front of me, so thank you very much for that. All right, we will take a quick time out here, but we are live at the Jungle, the inaugural tailgate at the Showdown broadcast. I'm Tom Gamble, he's Tony Pike, and we'll be back. We'll talk. Speaking of Joe and Jeremy, they are here. They're ready to go. They're going to be spending the night here, enjoying not literally maybe overnight, but they'll be here for the game. So we will be back to Lawrenceburg High School, the Jungle, momentarily. You're listening to Tailgate at the Showdown.
My mom used to take Logan and I to Skyline. Since I got my driver's license, now he makes me go with him all the time and drive him there. I come home and he's just like at the door and he's like, can we please go to Skyline? I'm like, Logan, chill, we just got home. But it's fine with me because I love it too. Because it's like the one place that we actually have like a conversation. That just became like something really special for us, and now we do it all the time and we just love it.
When it hurts to move, what often hurts most is the fact that you can't. Because every rebound is calling your name, and every dance should be danced. It's in moments like these that we step in to help you step back off the sidelines. Because it takes two to tango in this life, and you are meant to be the one. Mercy Health, healthcare for the universe of you. Find an orthopedic doctor at mercy.com/ortho.
There's a reason the kettle chips are so good at Meijer.
We cut our chips a little thick, cook them a little long, and batches they're a little small. So all our flavors are really big. At crunch time, that's why the kettle chips are so good at Meijer.
To the Jungle, just outside the field entrance here at Lawrenceburg High School, getting ready for the kickoff of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown tonight. East Central versus Lawrenceburg, a great Southeast Indiana battle. And it is Tom Gamble with Tony Pike, former UC quarterback. I got to tell you, I did a lot of years of radio, and I had a lot of people, producers and program directors, telling me to wrap up and stop talking. Never, and with the exception of being at home, now I have my wife out here. I mean, and I have to listen, right?
I'm just impressed you're able to wear sunglasses up here, man. That's a good
Well,
look,
I asked Tony. I said, it's like game night. Should I go with the look or not? He wants me to set the tone, so I am.
I think it's an excellent look.
Can't see with him or without him. So welcome, Joe Danneman, Fox 19, Jeremy Rowell, Fox 19.
Glad to be here.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for letting us be a part of this, because this is an itch that Jeremy and I have been trying to scratch for a few years, trying to get a bigger imprint on pregame, because we love what we do on the final quarter.
Absolutely.
but that's not until 11:15. This gives us a great platform to talk about and showcase the high school football here in the Tri-State. Great idea. Honored to be a part of it.
Glad to have you.
I got to be honest, guys. This is exciting for me too, because we've talked. This has been a long line of meetings with Chief here.
It has been,
Tom
yes.
Gamble. But it's been really cool to see this thing come together. Now to be here, be a part of it, and to see all of us up here together is really exciting. So it's going to be a great night for football.
And apparently you being here is setting the microphones off. It's all good. Hey, this is and look, this is live. This is week 1. It's all part of the process. Let me ask you guys. You guys have been doing the top 19 countdown on Fox 19 now, and you're down to, last night you announced number 8. Following up 9, I'm sorry. Tonight will be number 8, Jacob James of Elder. Before we get to some of the names, and this had to be a difficult process, but I've had people ask me, how do they do that? What input do they get? How do they wind up with the top 19? So how do you guys do it?
So you thought the BCS formula was complicated? Wait till you hear this. No, I'm kidding. It's actually quite simple. Think about the All-Star game in Major League Baseball, where they take some coaches voting, some players voting, some fan voting. We reach out to coaches about a month before the high school football season starts. We say, you tell us who are the best players in the Tri-State, so we make sure we hit who they are. The one criteria is they have to be a senior. Otherwise, the same names might pop up year after year after year, so we want to make sure we get 19 new players every year. So coaches' criteria is about 1/3. Jeremy and myself, who cover high school football on a Friday night basis, also Saturdays as well, we're about 1/3 of the vote. And then we also look at recruiting services and where these guys are ranked in the respective states, how many stars, where they're going to college. And then you also have to kind of take into factor, is this a high school football list, or is this projected to how they're going to be after high school? So that's something we're still kind of working through. And even now, I'll be honest, we're still moving around 8 through 1, not positive yet exactly who's going to be in those mix, but we know who 1 and 2 are. But it's not really a scientific process. It's a lot of people inputting and us trying to take this together and throw it all in there and come with a list.
What do you do when you look at gathering all of these names across high school football in all of these areas, some of the best high school football in the country? When you put this list together, how do you come up with 19? Because Tom and I have talked, high school football-wise, this is one of the deepest, most talented classes that have come out in a long time, because you look game to game, team to team.
Right.
You can go on any Friday night and watch multiple guys that are going to be playing at the next level.
Well, I can tell you right now that, you just look at a school like Princeton. If you go by 24/7 sports, Princeton has. Tell you what, let me use your mic for a second. Yeah. If you look at a school, that's better. If you look at a school like Princeton, Tony, we'll hand back and forth here. It's not Pike to Benz, but it's close. If you look at a school like Princeton, 3 of the top 6 in Ohio. It's insane to think about some of these schools. You think about Elder, a couple of guys on their O-line are on the list. Luke Kandra is on the left side of their O-line. Jacob James. There are so many teams as well that have multiple guys on this list. It is really hard to get it down to 19. And I will say, to your point earlier, both of you guys, this is one of the most star-studded classes we've seen in a long time. And you think about some names that are still to come in this list. I'm not giving away where they're going to fall, but the names are clear. Everyone knows them. You think about Mayan Williams. You think about guys like Parrish Johnson, to name a couple of these guys that are still on the list. It is really hard to get it down, but it is really cool to make this list just for Joe and I to watch throughout the season, as you guys have talked about in the Showdown, and then see them play all year long and make highlights and remind us, this is why they're on this 19.
Well, Joe, you brought up something, too, that I think is a critical point, and that is, do you evaluate them based on how good they are as a high school football player, or do you project them? Because you're right. Maybe some guys are great high school players, won't go on, although I don't know from this list. It looks like almost everybody will. But you're right. You're talking about some guys that wouldn't surprise me to see them on Sunday.
No, I think we probably have at least 3 guys on this list who are projected as someday Sunday football players. Certainly Michael Mayer, the kid from Covington Catholic. Parrish Johnson's another guy. And there's always one other person that pops from this list, whether it's Darion Henry, perhaps Jaheim Thomas, these guys that play defense at Princeton. And what I love about the list is you get these high school football lists, and you talk about MVPs and Mr. Football. It's always running backs. It's always quarterbacks. I think last year we had 1 quarterback in our top 19. Right. This year I think we only have 2 quarterbacks. Yeah. So it is littered with linemen, skill position players, and I think that's a good representation of what this area is about, because we have so many good big linemen around here and in this list, it's not just us skewing to what guys do on a Friday night or what guys make the highlights. It's actually who's the best football player. That's why we want to involve coaches.
There's so many big linemen because they eat Skyline Chili at the Crosstown Showdown every single Friday.
There you go. I got to ask both of you guys. I'm going to take you back in time. Would this guy have made it?
On the top 19?
Yeah.
He said before, he told us he thought he'd be right around, 8 or 9 on the list?
Wallace 6'6", 160.
That's okay.
1.
You were a 1-star recruit.
1 star.
But I will say this. We do need probably to have more quarterbacks on our list. We got burned last year because, and I said it every single Friday night, the kid at Elder, Michael Bittner, was one of our final decisions trying to get number 19, and I decided to go with a running back instead of him, and he just went out and set the world on fire every Friday night. And I made fun of myself every final quarter that we didn't put him on there. I said, who forgot to put him on the top 19? Oh, yeah, that was me.
It's crazy. You mentioned Mayer. I'll work with quarterbacks, and we'll watch film, and I'll see film come across of Covcath, and I'll see him playing linebacker, and he looks like he could play linebacker in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I think he could
walk into the Bengals locker room right now, and he would fit the profile of an NFL player.
He would be ready. We mentioned this before we went on air. Mayan Williams reminds me of Deshaun Wynn.
Yep.
Mayan Williams looks physically like he could play at the next level right now and be ready to take the vigors of a season. I mean, it's crazy in this area how good high school sports really are.
And we haven't even mentioned Evan Prater, who is the highest-rated recruit in UC history. He's obviously in our top 5 as well, the quarterback at Wyoming who took him to a state championship last year. So Evan Prater's still to come. I mean, the list of talent this year, without question, of the 3 years we've done this was the most difficult list, but also at the same time is the easiest list because these guys are at a different level than everybody else. And I'll say this because we did hear from East Central. East Central's Coach Miner sent in Luke Collinsworth, who's a big-time recruit. He's only a junior. We do expect Luke Collinsworth to be in our top 19 next year.
Yeah, because it should be duly noted, these are only seniors, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Now, let me ask both of you guys. So, this is a great rivalry game, and obviously we try to find games like this in the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. We've got a ton of them this year. Besides this one, if you had to kind of look at some of your 3 to 5 rivalries in the region, what are some of your top rivalry games that you look forward to every year? Jeremy?
Well, one of them this year has quite a spin. I mean, St. X Coleraine is going to take on such a different color because you obviously have the coaching change, and there are a lot of people wondering, is Coleraine still the same Coleraine? And in that same light, Lakota East and Lakota West also takes on a new color, a new look this year. And I went up to a practice with Tom Bolden. You guys know Tom Bolden obviously well, the head coach at Lakota West. He's got the music bumping. It's a different vibe, he said. And he said, we are not going to lay down and lose this year. We will only accept winning. And Lakota West has always had the studs, the star players. A couple of those guys are on our top 19, but they haven't delivered wins on the field. Tom Gamble doesn't lose in the GMC. I'm sorry, Tom Gamble. Tom Bolden.
No, I do. You're correct. I don't. I'm undefeated. No, you're correct.
So Chief Bolden, if you will, doesn't lose in the GMC. So I think those are a few games that I'm looking at this year that are going to be really exciting to see. I know Ohio's not here yet. That's next week, but a lot of exciting games this year.
For you?
Certainly every game in the GCL feels like a rivalry game. Every game in the GCL South, every Friday night, whoever's playing, whether it's LaSalle, Moeller, Elder, or St. X, whoever's playing each other feels like one of the most important games. I'll talk about in Northern Kentucky, certainly Covcath Highlands has always been the flagship rivalry in Northern Kentucky, and it's been interesting the last 10 years to see where it was dominated by Highlands, and now it's been dominated by Covcath. But it's whoever wins that game almost seems every year is going to represent Northern Kentucky at the state championship. And this year it kind of seems like they both are kind of on a collision course of similar type talent, similar type teams. One's more offense, one's a little bit more defense, and where they meet up, and will they meet up again in the playoffs, I would say most likely. But it's kind of a 2 times a year thing, and one team right now is dominating the other, but it can switch and go right back the other way, the way it was 10 years ago. So that's always been the flagship rivalry in Northern Kentucky.
It feels like this year among previous years that there's not like the clear-cut top of the, like, you go into the GCL each year, it's like, okay, this is right now. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. We don't know.
The GMC, there's every league you go up and down. There's so many unknowns. There's so many high-level players that's what's going to make this year very interesting.
I think Elder offensively, I don't know about the defense, but offensively they're going to be really, really good. Coleraine, you still, like you mentioned, Jeremy, kind of the unknown variable, somebody besides Carey or Tom.
Right.
Princeton's very talented, but again, you can have 3 studs, but you have to put it all together. Fairfield's pretty good again. Winton Woods is great, but their schedule is brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of wide open.
Well, you have a lot of winking and nodding from coaches in the preseason, right? Guys like Mike Daniels at Princeton, he keeps looking at me. This will be a good year. It's going to be a good year around here. And he should be saying that. He has 3 of the top 6 in Ohio on his team. Obviously, they aren't your typical quarterback, wide receiver, running back positions, but you have teams like that who are kind of winking and nodding. It's going to be a really good year. And as you look around the tri-state, you see a lot of that. Elder is going to have, like you talked about, a fantastic offense. Matthew Luby is so good at quarterback for them because he can run, he can move. He's different than Michael Bittner was. Michael Bittner could move, but he was a great passer. Matthew Luby changes their game plan a lot, but they have the offensive line, they have a good running back, but all across the tri-state, there are a lot of teams that I feel like are just taking on a different look this year.
I would agree. Now, you guys aren't done. That's your first segment, but you'll be coming back after 6 o'clock. Preview tonight on the final quarter, what everybody's got to look forward to, right?
Of course, 11:15. It is our high school football highlight show. It is 11:15 to about 11:35. It is jam-packed. We're at 10 games tonight. It's not just the games. It's interactive. Young people, we want you involved on Twitter, on Instagram. Get involved. Be part of the show because that's how we like to separate ourselves. It's not just traditional highlights. It's involving young people to watch the news.
All right,
That's how we try to do
you can
it.
tell more about that when you come back after 6. But when we continue here live from Lawrenceburg High School, the Jungle, we'll welcome up the Tigers head coach, Ryan Kniga, talk about tonight's game, and we'll do that next. It's Tom Gamble, Tony Pike, and the Fox 19 Now sports crew, Joe Danneman and Jeremy Rao. For now, live at Lawrenceburg, it is the inaugural Tailgate at the Showdown.
My friend Maddie's little brother Mac was always on me, just hounding me to try Skyline. Jay, try Skyline. Jay, try Skyline. I'm a little picky, so it took a while for him to really get me to go. One day we went, he got his food. He's like, can you try it? Just please try it. I tried it, and it was amazing. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would ever have tried Skyline. All right, Mac, let's go get some more.
Hi again, everybody. We're here with Dr. Nick Early from Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. We're talking athletes and knee injuries. Unfortunately, they kind of go together. Today, specifically, we want to talk about the patella and maybe some of the different injuries. How about first off, patellar subluxation? Explain what that is.
So the patella is your kneecap, or the bone in the front of the knee, and it's possible for it to slide out of the groove that it normally sits in. And if it slides part of the way out, that's a subluxation. If it slides completely out of the groove, that's a dislocation.
So looking ahead for risk factors maybe leading to any kind of patellar instability.
So there are certain risk factors. You can have a patellar instability event if you've had a major trauma or a high energy sports injury, but it's also possible to have issues if you have certain bony abnormalities or alignment issues with your knees.
Let's get into maybe a little bit more specifics on preventing the patellar injury, any kind of knee injuries, but maybe again specifically to the patella.
If you have some of these risk factors or you've had issues in the past with patellar instability, making sure that you're in shape and you've done certain physical therapy exercises to get your certain muscle groups strong can help, as well as wearing braces and sometimes taping your knee.
And how about some of the treatments if you have gone through this with patellar instability?
We'll usually start with non-surgical treatment, trying to get your knee moving again and trying to make sure that we get certain muscle groups strong with physical therapy. But oftentimes if there's been certain damage to certain structures in your knee, or if you're having recurrent instability issues, then surgery is sometimes indicated.
Okay, so that's recurring. You're talking about long-term consequences then, or with the instability?
So there are certain long-term consequences. You can have recurrent instability that can lead to a real disability with your activities of daily living and difficulty just living your normal life. In long term, you are at a higher risk of arthritis in your knee as well.
Well, we're hopeful that these injuries don't occur. The reality is we know that they do. Great information today. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks.
Of course.
When it hurts to move, what often hurts most is the fact that you can't. Because every rebound is calling your name, and every dance should be danced. It's in moments like these that we step in to help you step back off the sidelines. Because it takes two to tango in this life, and you are meant to be the one. Mercy Health Healthcare for the universe of you. Find an orthopedic doctor at mercy.com/ortho.
There's a reason the bananas look so good at Meijer.
This may sound bananas to you, but all I do is look at bananas. Because nobody sees our bananas until I say they've got enough appeal. That's why the bananas look so good at Meijer.
Man involved, you never know what's going to happen. Take it right up to the game.
All right. Welcome back to the jungle here. Thanks to Emily Jones and the Lawrenceburg Tigers band. For those who don't know the music, that's called looping. And you keep just when it's a continuance of the fight song, they played their fight song. I want to thank Emily and the band for being a part of the inaugural tailgate at the Showdown right here at the jungle. Let's hear it from the fans. Give it up for yourself for being here early and listening tonight. I'm Tom Gamble. He's former UC Bearcats quarterback Tony Pike. And now we welcome to the stage head coach of Lawrenceburg, Mr. Ryan Kniga. Coach, how are we tonight?
Oh, we're doing great. And I'd like to what an awesome atmosphere we have here tonight. So thanks for having me on. Looking for a good game tonight.
Now, one thing I did notice, it's kind of funny. I mean, people were listening maybe a little bit earlier to myself and
Not
Tony.
as intently.
But it's kind of funny. The coach comes up here. I notice the crowd has gotten much larger. Now, I'm wondering, is that because the love and just the passion they have for your game planning and everything that they're going to see tonight, or is anybody going to jot down notes and be ripping off emails and sending things or calling tomorrow? What do you think?
Probably a little bit of both. I see some of my family members out there, so
there you go.
They're probably thinking good things, and other people are taking notes, but hopefully all the notes will be good tonight.
Well, we're thrilled to have this game as our kickoff in not only Indiana, but the 22-year anniversary of the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown, and we did it last couple years, and 2 years ago when you renewed the series. Your great game, 15-14, East Central won, but it really spurred you guys on after that, and both programs are tremendously successful, have had great runs. Tony and I were just kicking around. I know I asked you this earlier in the week, but how difficult is it? Because this is a huge rival game. I know in a couple weeks you play at Lucas Oil Stadium, part of the EIAC that goes up there for 4 games. But how do you approach this game? I mean, you know, if you win, you don't want your guys too high. If you don't happen to win, you still got to get ready for the rest of the year. Is it tough having a game like this in week 1?
Yeah, it is, because it's a huge build-up because it's the first game. So you have the whole summer, you have the whole off season to talk about this game. And when you have that much time, yeah, it is. And, you know, we renewed this a couple years ago, and I think the communities really appreciate that. And the schools, and as you can see, the fans appreciate it. Yeah. And it's a great way to kick off 2019.
What do you feel about, you speak about 2019, very young team for you guys last year. With a young team comes some headaches and comes some obstacles to overcome, but you also gain experience with that young team. Talk about that with what you've seen in the offseason and leading up to week 1, how that experience helps.
Well, last season we definitely fell short of our expectations as a program at 5-6. But as you look through our schedule, there were 2 games that we lost in overtime. We lost the game going for 2, but we did play a lot of young guys. So with the experience that we have coming back in key positions up front, we're big, fast, and strong. We got a quarterback in Garrett Yoon who obviously got experience last year as a true freshman. I really like our defense. And, you know, we tell them we started 5 freshmen last year at some point, and the only thing better than a freshman is a sophomore. So, but, you know, we think we got a good team. We think we're going to be able to put some wins together this year, and hopefully we get off to a good start here tonight in the Showdown.
Well, let me ask you about this rivalry, too, because I don't know, and I've been around high school football for 30-plus years, which means that I'm old, but one thing I can tell you about this rivalry, we talked about this, I don't know that I've ever seen more coaches who are familiar with one another. This person used to be at East Central, now they're at Lawrenceburg, vice versa. I mean, for instance, Jake Miners, when he was the quarterback at East Central, he'll start his varsity coaching debut tonight. You coached him 2 of those 4 years. And I mean, does that – and there's a lot of great respect, I believe, for both of these programs toward each other. And there should be based on the success of each one.
Yeah, you know, we know a lot of the guys over there on the other side of the ball due to some of us coached there and some of those guys coached here. And, you know, after tonight, we're rooting for each other, and we have a lot of respect for East Central, not only the coaches, but their program, their tradition, and I would think the feeling's mutual from those guys. They're great guys. They're great football coaches. Jake, he's a competitor, and he's always been a competitor since I've known him when I coached out at East Central, and I think that he's going to do great things out at East Central. He's kept some of the staff intact, so they're not going to change much. They're going to continue to do what they do. And, you know, we have a lot of respect for those guys over there.
When you come up to this season, and we talk about the rivalry game, game 1, this is a long season. When you guys set goals, whether that's off-season, preseason, what are the goals that you guys set as a team?
Well, one of the things that we talked about and we tell our kids is that you're remembered by championships. And as we talked about earlier, this is game 1. It's a rivalry game. And after this game, we're not going to stand in East Central's way, and they're not going to stand in our way of accomplishing any of our goals. And so, you know, some of the goals that we like to talk about, we would like to win the EIAC 3A championship. We want to win a sectional championship, but also have a winning record for our seniors. And, you know, we have 17 seniors this year. It's a big group. And, you know, we want to try to do everything we can to make it a great season for them and our program.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it, and good luck tonight. Now, you want to be – I know you guys, some of the coaches were back watching this on either Cincinnati.com or Fox 19's Facebook Live. Here's what I would tell you. Coming up around 6:20 or so, Pike's Picks. He's going to project tonight's game. So you may, if you need a little extra motivation, I know you don't, but if you do, you might want to listen to that. But appreciate you coming out. It's great being out here at Lawrenceburg.
Appreciate the cheerleaders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Staying up here with
ladies, awesome. Right behind us, the Lawrenceburg cheerleaders doing a great job, and the band as well. But Jeremy Rao from Fox 19, who was up with us, he was out here earlier this week, and quickly got about 30 seconds. But you are going to be missing one guy tonight that I know you'd love to be sending out on some pass routes.
Yeah, no doubt. Gavin Yoon had a knee injury last week in our scrimmage, so we're going to be without him for a few weeks. But the old saying goes, it's the next man up. We're going to miss him, and I know there's a lot of people that would love to see him play, and they're going to get to eventually some point this year.
Well, for those watching, take a look. Jeremy Rao was out, and he did a feature on the Yoon family. And you'll learn more about Dad, the assistant coach, and the brothers who play on the football team. And for those here, you're now also going to be entertained by Emily Jones again and the Lawrenceburg Tigers Marching Band. We're live at Lawrenceburg in the jungle. It is the inaugural Tailgate at the Showdown.
So you guys know why we're doing this, right? Turn, get upfield early, get on their shoulder.
Football is family, a cliche that isn't so cliche in Lawrenceburg.
Go!
You can't always hear it.
They're kind of a quiet leader.
You can see it.
When you talk Lawrenceburg athletics in general, the Yoon name is very familiar.
So,
They are the Yoon family.
being a part of it and being around my 2 kids is pretty special.
Go!
Quarterback, wide receiver, and assistant coach.
It's close, single, yeah.
All in the family.
Go!
And all in on taking the Tiger family
Go!
to the next level.
Especially the senior class with my brother. It's a great class, you know, and I just want them to have the best senior year they can.
It's pretty cool, just having all the years coming up and everything, just being together like this. So I think we got big things ahead.
Orange lasso. This is the second and final year brothers Garrett and Gavin will play together. Garrett is a second-year starting quarterback as a sophomore. One of Garrett's best targets, older brother Gavin. He's on target for a massive senior season when he's off the crutches, hopefully by mid-season.
When they're on the field, they're teammates, special teammates, I guess you can say, but when they go home, they're normal brothers.
The family ties are strong here, even if the feud is sometimes real.
Off the field, we kind of hit heads a little bit, but once we get on the field, it's all business, and us just being so close together, it helps us a lot on the field.
Tigers! Hey, we just got to work on it. Anytime, we just got to work on every situation, you know? You never know what's going to happen.
Go! A family of high expectations, playing for a team with championship motivation, and what could be a special season for the Tigers.
Work hard in order to get you somewhere, and I think my two have always bought into that. Don't worry about anything else. There's always other people out there working harder than you.
Yeah.
Go!
My mom used to take Logan and I to Skyline. Since I got my driver's license, now he makes me go with him all the time and drive him there. I come home and he's just like at the door and he's like, can we please go to Skyline? I'm like, Logan, chill, we just got home. But it's fine with me because I love it too. Because it's like the one place that we actually like, have like a conversation. That just became like something really special for us, and now we do it all the time and we just love it.
When it hurts to move, what often hurts most is the fact that you can't. Because every rebound is calling your name, and every dance should be danced. It's in moments like these that we step in to help you step back off the sidelines. Because it takes two to tango in this life, and you are meant to be the one. Mercy Health, healthcare for the universe of you. Find an orthopedic doctor at mercy.com/ortho.
There's a reason the kettle chips are so good at Meijer.
We cut our chips a little thick, cook them a little long, in batches that are a little small. So all our flavors are really big. At crunch time, that's why the kettle chips are so good at Meijer.
The biggest games of the high school season headline the 2019 Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown, presented by Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Meijer. The nation's longest-running high school football showcase celebrates its 22nd anniversary with great games at various tri-state high school stadiums, featuring the region's premier programs from Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. Advanced tickets for all Showdown games are available at all participating schools.
It's like you've been waiting on me.
Lawrenceburg High School, just outside the field level gate of Dick Meter Stadium. It's the inaugural tailgate at the Showdown. I am Tom Gamble. He is former Bearcats quarterback Tony Pike, played at all three levels. We talked about that a little bit earlier, and now it's our pleasure to welcome to the stage one Lindsay Patterson from Cincinnati.com. Lindsay, welcome.
Good evening, guys. I kind of need one of those really cool orange polos.
We can work on that. We will work on that. Yeah, but one thing we failed to mention so far, how about this weather?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for August 23rd, are you kidding me?
Well, for August 23rd and what high school football season was last year, where it seemed a monsoon every week. This is, you can't ask for anything more than tonight.
Rained about every Friday night, and but the temperature's also gorgeous, so we're glad. And you may see Lindsay working the sidelines at the FC Cincinnati games, right?
Yes, 34 matches you'll see me out there, so it is definitely a different season from the NFL and college football and high school.
Well, and speaking of high school, you did sideline reporting on, first it was Time Warner Cable, then it was Spectrum Sports, and so one of the things I always want to ask is, I think people a lot of times have a tendency to kind of go, really, they're asking that question. But sideline reporting, I think, is one of the most difficult because you're talking to coaches when they're maybe not so happy because you schedule those, coaches coming off the field at halftime. Half of them don't want to talk anyway. No. But, I mean, honestly, did you find that difficult, asking the right question?
You know what? I always think it depends on the coach. One great thing, and I might be biased right now, doing the Cincinnati sidelines for Cincinnati high school football for about 5 to 6 years, they're great. football coaches, as you know.
Yeah.
Just great guys. They want to talk. They'll give me an answer, and I'm always biased towards that longer answer when the producer's wrapping you up. But, yeah, I mean, it is kind of difficult, but you always in your mind, you have your backup questions. Tony would know because he does college football for UC that you always have that, hey, he's not going to answer that one right. I got to get a backup. I got to have another one. So, and make sure it's a question, not a statement.
Well, I agree with Lindsay. It's all about the coach as well. I remember my first couple years doing it, I was lucky because UC was winning.
Sure.
I would do it coming out of the half, and they went down to South Florida in the Tuberville era, and I think they were down by like 50 at halftime.
I remember that.
I was so nervous because I was like, okay, this is like the first time where he's mad. What's going to happen? And he came out cool as heck. Not a care in the world, and obviously that's the Tommy Tuberville era.
That's because he just phoned in at tea time. He was ready to go, right?
It'll be a different story with the current head coach down there, but it is. It's a lot of it depends on that coach that you're talking to.
Well, they fixed that for you too, didn't they? At one point, they said you're not allowed in here, right? And
I'm out.
Right.
I'm out.
Well, and I'll tell you what, we've talked about rival games, Lindsay, in this setting here. You just hear some of the horns as they go by, and this is one of the cooler settings, I think, in high school football. It's right on Route 50 here in Southeast Indiana. They've added turf a few years back, and this setting here is one. I know you've done a lot of rival games all over Ohio. I got to believe this is one of the cooler settings.
It really is cool. I love that you can just tailgate throughout here because you can't do that with all the high school football stadiums when you go to some, even in the Cincinnati, Kentucky area. But I love this. And the players walking out through here, it's great for the fans if they want to see them before they go in. But I'm feeling the atmosphere a couple hours before kickoff right now.
Yeah. I was always shocked, not shocked, but growing up where UC was at and the Crosstown Showdown would be played at Nippert Stadium, it would be sold out. And I would tell people on the team, they're going home for the weekend, I'd say, no, stay and watch this high school football game. They're like, why? Because football here is different.
It is
different. The fans that come out, you see it here tonight in the jungle, it's completely different. Lindsay, covering this so long and being all over, what would you say is one of your top rivalries that game's on the schedule, like, okay, that's going to be fun, that's what I'm looking forward to?
I'm going to go back a little bit of a throwback because I always felt like it went to overtime, and it's going to be different this year. I heard Jeremy talk about it from Fox 19. The Colerain St. X game. I think it's always great atmosphere. It's sold out. It's hard to get into sometimes St. X and Moeller, but I love that, and it's always usually a really tight game. One team could be down that year, but no matter what, when they played each other, they were always up, and it made it close.
Well, speaking of that, that's our next tailgate at the Showdown, too. We've got 5 after tonight. We take next week off, but then it is St. Xavier at Colerain. Then we do Loveland traveling to Milford, and that's a great, the Battle for the Bell. That's the first time, people may not know this, but they added that Week 3 game as a non-league game. They play Week 5 in the ECC, so that's rather unusual. Then we do Kings at Anderson, and that's the first, it's Week 4, but that is Anderson's first home game. They've had a lot of great renovations going on there. That's a good game. Then we take a week off, and then we go to Northern Kentucky, 3-time defending Class A state champ Beechwood, traveling not far to take on a much improved Dixie Heights team. And then October 18th, we do that East-West, the Battle of Lakota. So we've got 6 of them planned, and everybody will be out at all of them. And this is, you guys both know this, is in high school football is so popular here. We just felt like doing something pregame, and we're going to set up hopefully in all the best locations. When we came out to do the site visit here, Mark Pearson, I want to thank Mark and everybody from Lawrenceburg. He said, no, you want to be down in the jungle, and now we see why.
No, this is a great atmosphere right now, and they're starting to park in here and get in here and tailgate, so still time if you're heading in this direction to catch some high school football before it all kicks off next week for Ohio.
I think it's interesting because Lindsay brought up Colerain. Colerain has sat here the whole offseason, and they've heard, Fairfield this year, Princeton this year, and Colerain has sat at the top for how long now? And they've just sat here and said, okay, well, everyone's done with Colerain now. Trust me, because I work with some Colerain kids. I know they still have something to prove. And now a team that's been on the top for so long has that extra chip on their shoulder. And that could be dangerous for Colerain to hear that from everybody else.
Well, don't forget, Sean Cutright, who's the Cardinals' new coach, he's been around. He's in that program, and they may change and tweak a couple things, but they've got talent. And you're right. Until somebody beats Colerain, and speaking of Colerain, how about what they're doing tonight?
Right.
Now, it's a scrimmage night in Ohio. They are literally scrimmaging tonight at Lakota West. So I don't know whether they had that already pre-planned, but of course their former coach Tom Bolden is coaching at West now. Let's talk about this game a little bit, Lindsay. This is one of those games where you've got two programs, both extremely successful. Week 1, kicking off the season with a big game. East Central, new coach, third coach in 3 years. Now, he's been in the program, so it's a little misleading, but Jake Miners takes over. Looks like he's about 16. I mean, he really does. He's 28 is his actual age, but I think he's enthusiastic. I know the players really like Jake. They had a kind of a big win, 38-7 last year in this game, and you have to go back to 1992 for the last time Lawrenceburg beat East Central. So Lawrenceburg then's got everybody back. 10 starters on both sides of the football. This has the makings of a really good game.
It really does. And like I was bringing up with the St. X Coleraine situation, it doesn't matter how last season went. Some of the changes that you're going to see out there, depending on who you're coming back, what experience you have, some of the younger guys, it all depends on the rivalry and how you get up for it. And I think just controlling the game for Lawrenceburg side when they face a team like East Central, but you just remember, you get up for it. And to have it week 1 is perfect for these guys.
East Central is going to rely on their defense. And that's the thing, because talking and hearing about Lawrenceburg, we talk about the youth. Well, that means a lot of players were around last year for that lopsided game.
Correct.
So a lot of players remember that, and a lot of players now in the offseason kind of mark that on the calendar. And we didn't really get into it with Coach, but I guarantee off-season training, that game was brought up. And that is circled back to the night where, because of some losses for East Central, because of what's coming back for Lawrenceburg, figures to be a fantastic game.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. I know you're doing some Bengal stuff on Cincinnati.com, but you're also going to be doing some high school stuff, right?
High school stuff over on Cincinnati.com. Again, going to all the rivalry games for the Tailgate at the Showdown. I'm so pumped for that because it's a little different from being on the sidelines for about 5 years. I wrapped that up, and I wanted to try some different things. So, yeah, everything will be up on Cincinnati.com after the games. We'll have you covered up there. A lot going on this season. I'm pumped.
And you get to hang out with us. I mean, that's fun. Let's be honest.
You get to hang out with Tom and these glasses.
Right. Yeah,
these are sweet.
Hey, I asked Tony. He said set the tone, so I did it.
Ray-Bans.
Now we're gonna have Jake Miners, East Central coach, up here, and we're gonna. He has his brother is hanging out with us tonight too. I'd be remiss. His brother, cousin Vinny, you may know him on 96 Rock and some of the other stations that are in the Cumulus Cincinnati family, but 96 Rock is here, and they're brothers. So whenever I maybe I don't make the drive to East Central all the time, I just go, hey Vinny, can you get this to your brother? And he does. And but no, Vinny's on site, and they're giving out some discount passes to the Land of Illusion Haunted Scream Park.
You know what that means? That means that fall is here,
which is good,
and football is back, which is fantastic. And speaking of the whole Halloween theme, Hell is Real. The rivalry game Sunday night.
I'm pumped.
The excitement is built for that.
The way our season's going right now, it's kind of our Super Bowl. That's how I'm treating it. And Nippert Stadium's just a great place. I mean, you play college football there. You go there for the Bearcats games. I love playing there, even at a soccer level.
Well, Nippert Stadium, I mean, we would still be there if we could. And I love it when the teams come out here, and the Tigers are now walking past us. East Central has already made its way. And a reminder, they do this really cool. They'll come about 6:25. And they'll start over here. We'll have some of it on camera for you if you're watching at home, and obviously the people in the jungle will see this. But they walk away from the field. I wonder if there's anybody who didn't know what they're doing. They're like, where are they going? Like they're leaving. But they literally make their way up, and then they walk through all the tailgate area and then back on the field. So that's pretty darn cool.
I love it. It's starting to get crowded out here. This is awesome.
It is. No, it's awesome. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate the hospitality, too, of Lawrenceburg. And Skyline Chili's here, too. So if you're hungry, grab yourself some Skyline Chili. I know that's...
And really, I mean, when we talked about it to start the show, like this is the official kickoff. Like
it is.
You kind of get stuck in the middle because you get excited for NFL, and then you get this far into preseason
for the regular season,
come on.
right? Yeah.
So you're already tired of preseason. You still got to wait another week for college football, especially the Bearcats coming back. But as Lindsay alluded to, the camaraderie out here, the tailgate out here, what it means to play high school sport and be around that. It just kind of brings you back into what fall and football season is all about.
High school football is amazing around this area. I was actually talking to someone in Texas last night, and everybody knows how high school football is there from the college to high school level. And he said, man, I've been here for about a year now, and I love this atmosphere. It's fun to come to. If you have no plans on Friday nights, you're going to see people at all the games. It's
well,
awesome.
Let me ask you from when you played. You mentioned, I mean, this is still early. I mean, they've had one scrimmage over here in Southeast Indiana. And if you look a lot of times at the scores, many times early, low scoring, a lot of mistakes, and a pivotal mistake, turnovers, the things that coaches hate, can really determine games early in the season. Now, the weather's not going to hurt you tonight.
Right.
Sometimes it's heat. If you got guys going both ways, that'll help Lawrenceburg tonight in theory. But how critical is it early in the season to not make a lot of mistakes?
Well, it's become more critical over the last couple of years because of the new rules and how two-a-days and practices are handled.
Sure.
No more do you really get to go live much at practice. No more do you really get to go back-to-back in two-a-days. So where that would all get ironed out in the past, you kind of iron that out through preseason and the
tonight,
first couple games.
yeah.
So that makes it that much harder for this game to be a rivalry game, knowing that you're probably not going to be at your best and where you're going to be 10 weeks from now. But it's tough to come out and have to do that tonight.
As a former player, though, are you kind of like, man, I would love that non-two-a-day stuff?
Oh, as a former player, I love it. Watching it now, I get frustrated because I'm like, okay, I want to see these guys hit. I want to see going into it. But as a player and player safety, it's the smart thing to do for the game.
People have no idea. Back when you played in those the two-a-days and the way coaches handled things, man, totally different. All right, thanks.
I enjoyed
Good seeing
joining you guys.
Absolutely.
This is
We will
fun.
see you in a couple weeks, but you're going to be hanging around for a while here at Lawrenceburg. All right. Emily Jones and the Tigers band here as well, so we'll welcome them and let them play. But we've got more. Coach Jake Miners of East Central, he'll be joining us too. East Central cheerleaders as well, so we'll do that. Coming up next, you're listening to the inaugural Tailgate at the Showdown at Lawrenceburg High School.
My friend Maddie's little brother Mac was always on me, just hounding me to try Skyline. Jay, try Skyline. Jay, try Skyline. I'm a little picky, so it took a while for him to really get me to go. One day we went, he got his food. He's like, can you try it? Just please try it. I tried it, and it was amazing. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would ever have tried Skyline. All right, Mac, let's go get some more.
When it hurts to move, what often hurts most is the fact that you can't. Because every rebound is calling your name, and every dance should be danced. It's in moments like these that we step in to help you step back off the sidelines. Because it takes two to tango in this life, and you are meant to be the one. Mercy Health, healthcare for the universe of you. Find an orthopedic doctor at mercy.com/ortho.
There's a reason the bananas look so good at Meijer.
This may sound bananas to you, but all I do is look at bananas. Because nobody sees our bananas until I say they've got enough appeal. That's why the bananas look so good at Meijer.
The biggest games of the high school season headline the 2019 Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown, presented by Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Meijer. The nation's longest-running high school football showcase celebrates its 22nd anniversary with great games at various tri-state high school stadiums, featuring the region's premier programs from Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana. Advanced tickets for all Showdown games are available at all participating schools.
All right, welcome back to the inaugural Tailgate at the Showdown right here at the Jungle. Lawrenceburg High School as we get ready for a big game tonight. The kickoff of the 2019 Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown presented by Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Meijer. Thanks to Emily Jones and the Lawrenceburg Band for entertaining us tonight. And welcome now from East Central, the East Central cheerleaders. Ladies, thanks for coming up tonight. And told you look young, or maybe I'm just getting old. It's the first-year coach, but certainly no stranger to the Trojans program, Jake Miners. Jake, welcome tonight.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for saying that I look young. It's game one. Look at me at the end of the season.
Well, I was going to say, tonight you look young. We'll see how you're doing about 8 or 9 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But you did learn some things. I know you were on last Sunday with Joe and Jeremy, and I know Noel Rash from Beechwood where they had kind of the gaff when he was trying to lift the garage door. So are we ready for tonight's pregame speech?
Well, fortunately, here at East Central, or at Lawrenceburg High School, we don't have any garage doors that I'm throwing up. So I think we'll be okay tonight.
So let me ask you, tonight you've been around, you've been part of this rivalry, player, coach. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, you've never lost to Lawrenceburg, correct? But now you're the head coach. Now you're previously you were calling some things, but now it's all on you. Does that change your approach looking at a game like tonight?
I don't think so. I've been in this program for a very long time, and having played in this game, in this great rivalry, and then coming back and coaching in this great rivalry, I don't look at this game any different than I have in years past. Our preparation's been the same. Yeah, sure, it's a little bit different in the fact that I'm the head coach, and I have to make sure that we're on schedule and this and that. But, our prep is our prep, and I got a great staff behind me, a very veteran group with me where we break down film the same as we've always done. And so we've broken down Lawrenceburg, and I think we're prepared tonight.
How much does it mean? I went to a smaller school in Reading High School, and I'm still involved at Reading. How much does it mean for the school that you played for to now come back and be the head coach for that team? What is that? Because with that, it's obviously pride, but it also comes responsibility in holding yourself to a level that this team's been at for a while now.
Sure, and I know the level that this program has, and I want to raise that level even higher. And, it's pretty surreal being back at East Central High School. I never really thought as a player that, man, I want to one day be the head coach of East Central High School. But the way that things kind of worked out, it's kind of fallen in place for me, and it's pretty surreal. I'm humbled in the fact that our administration had the confidence in me at such a young age to be able to step into this type of position.
Let me ask you about you mentioned your team, and I know you guys graduated. A lot of players had another great year. You've got a run going. I mean, I saw something where I think you guys have 7 times had winning streaks of 5 games or more in recent years. It's been an incredible run. You're 15-3 in the playoffs. You've won 4 straight sectionals, obviously not too far removed from a state championship. But you lost a lot of guys. Lawrenceburg brings back 10 starters on both sides of the football. Mm-hmm. Naturally, you guys handled them relatively easy last year. Off season, how motivation works.
Right.
How do you approach tonight's game based on all those facts and figures?
Well, we just talk with the guys that this is a new year. We have new expectations, new goals for this year, and to maintain that level of success, we have to do certain things in the off season. And that program's been in place for a very long time. I didn't come in and have to change up the program, our lifting schedule, anything like that, because that program's already been set, and it's proven to be successful. Now, as far as this game goes, we know that Lawrenceburg returns a lot. We knew last year that they were young. We know that they return a lot, and so our guys know that they have to be ready to go, from the first snap. And, we graduated a couple guys last year. Our quarterback, Alex Maxwell, he's actually, I saw a picture of him today. He walked on at Purdue, and he was behind Rondell Moore.
Oh, wow. That's cool. How about
that?
So
it's pretty cool. But we do return a lot of guys. We return 8 on defense and 7 on offense, including on the offensive line. We have 2 3-year starters, and Luke Collinsworth and Cody Bentley, and then a 2-year starter, Devin Salyer. So, each year we do talk about certain goals. Our players are up for this game. I don't have to say anything. First of all, it's week 1. Second of all, it's Lawrenceburg. I don't have to pump them up any more than that.
You mentioned week 1, and we asked this question earlier. Rivalry game, week 1. You've had all this build up in the offseason to this game. How do you handle this game as a coach, knowing you still got 9 weeks after this, and this is one game on the schedule? It's a meaningful game, but you can't get too high afterwards. You can't get too low either way. How do you go about the game like that?
I think our guys are mentally in a good spot right now. I think they're fired up because they know it is week 1, and they know it's a rivalry game. But these guys have played in a lot of big games in the past years, and so they've learned how to mentally prepare themselves each and every week, even if it is a big game, whether it's the playoffs, whether it's a rivalry game, where they know they can't get too high. If we're fortunate enough to come away with a victory tonight, they know that they can't just be settled on that. We have to turn the page and start looking towards Oak Hills.
Goal setting, real quick, just goal setting for the season. Rivalry game aside, what are the goals when you guys sit down going into the season? This is what we want to accomplish. This is where we want to get to.
Yeah, I think every year we talk with our senior class, and we kind of have a nice thing going here with our tradition at East Central is that this year's senior class is going to try to outdo last year's senior class. And last year's senior class was the winningest class in East Central history. So for them to be able to outdo them, that means they're going to have to win a lot of football games this year, that they're going to have to, take care of business when that arises. But, I think they're challenged, and more than that, we just talked about playing together as a team, not individual stats. If we have to throw the ball for 300 passing yards that game, if we have to run the ball for 300 passing yards that game, we just know that at the end of the day, we just need to win the game.
All right, Jake, we appreciate your time, man. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Certainly the rest of the season. First year, ladies, thanks. How about that? East Central on site with us. And now for a preview of tonight, the final quarter. Let's go over and talk to Joe and Jeremy, see what they've got in store for you later this evening.
What is going on, guys? We have the East Central cheerleaders behind us. Hi, ladies. Thanks for doing this.
Be like T.O. and get a palm
Little
on myself.
atmosphere. That's my quarterback. Hey, Jake Miners is now walking off the stage off camera now. I have a story about Jake Miners. Not only is it his first game as head coach, Joe, did you know, if you're watching wherever you're watching, he has a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-month-old at home right now? That is a tough first game for a coach. A lot going on, not a lot of sleep. At his first game tonight, but I'm sure he's ready, right?
What's cool to me about this, and you mentioned getting ready, is you talk about all summer long trying to inspire your high school football players to be ready week 1 and really kind of get them through things. When you have this game out there as a carrot, week 1, playoff-like atmosphere against your rival, that gets the attention of high school football players during the summer to whatever drill you're doing, whatever play you're working on, whatever period it is in practice, to get out there and get yourself ready. Because otherwise it can be, just another summer day. When you have this kind of game week 1, it has to motivate kids.
Yeah, and I know both teams are excited. These are two of the top teams in the entire area, certainly Southeast Indiana. Ryan Kaniga, the head coach of Lawrenceburg, a couple of years ago when this rivalry was renewed, we had the moment inside the locker room. I know you remember it well. And he went in there and had a big-time speech. Now, Lawrenceburg lost that game by 1 point. It was the year after Lawrenceburg made the state finals run. But you could just feel the emotion. He was saying in the locker room, they didn't want to play us, now they get us, and we're going to dance. They're partying in Tiger Town tonight, I think is what he said. And I think that rivalry still feels new. It still feels like this has not been as long going as they would like it to have been for a long time. And now that it's back, you can just feel the juice again around this area.
And you always wonder about those intangibles. Who has the edge in these kind of games when you are the team that is still trying to build yourself up and beat that rival, and it's taking you this long to get to the top of the mountain, maybe take them down. Maybe sometimes that's the intangible edge you do need to win a game like this. Plus, you're on your home field. Plus, you've got Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown here. You've got all the cheerleaders, you got all the fans, you got everybody here ready for you to go out there and perform. I can't think of a better recipe for Lawrenceburg to go ahead and do this tonight, but you see East Central walking behind us.
Yeah.
It's a big football team.
And these guys are hungry, and they had a fantastic season last year, just one loss in the regular season. Do want to talk about Lawrenceburg briefly and their situation tonight. I know they've touched on it a little bit, but the quarterback, Garrett Yoon, is just a sophomore starting quarterback, a really good player. We did a feature on the Yoon family around this team. And his older brother, senior wide receiver, Gavin Yoon, is going to be down for, he said he thinks probably 4 to 6 weeks, so they're going to take a hit there, but this team is going to be really good. I just hope they can get through that because Gavin is a big part of this team, but don't get it wrong. Garrett is a big-time leader on this team, the sophomore quarterback, and he's going to do big things for this team until his brother gets back, and the team around him is still pretty darn good.
So let's talk about tonight on the final quarter at 11:15. This is one of the 10 games you will see tonight. It's not just highlights. We also do the FQ Top 3. Make sure you get on Twitter. You vote for the top plays tonight. We also do the helmet stickers. Will one of the players tonight stand out so much that we give them a helmet sticker week 1? Plus, I'll be in the locker room with Coach Kaniga to get another speech. Can't wait. I hope he says tonight again, we're going to party in Tiger Town, because that was one of the best moments last year.
As I send it back, little known fact about me, I did a rap album 10 years ago and rapped about Tony Pike. It's true, Tony. One day you'll hear it. Back to you guys.
Really?
Really.
Get that.
Oh, I've got the tape.
That's interesting.
I've got the tape.
Because I would have known that because I know Joe can dabble in a little karaoke rap.
Yeah, he does the,
I didn't know
the
Jeremy,
floss?
though. I don't
Seen
know.
some of their promos, right? Yeah, there he goes.
That's,
which it's time. Yeah, that's
we need
enough.
this game to start.
I just wanted to point out that you can do that, but thrilled to have Joe and Jeremy on site tonight. Again, you want to watch the final quarter tonight and every Friday night on Fox 19 now. And this Sunday, you want to check out the sports wrap, too. We got some more coaches coming on with them this Sunday. It'll be it all runs together. It's Evan Dreyer from Anderson.
It's Joe and Jeremy do a great job, Fox 19, but it's not just them. I mean, look at all the other sponsors that make this possible.
You are correct.
It is a
got a future
great
in this
event.
business.
See that?
No, that's awesome. Skyline Chili and two of the best here, the Lawrenceburg Skyline Chili, which is just right down the road, and the St. Leon Skyline Chili, which is literally right by East Central. We've done pep rallies. We'll be doing one for Lawrenceburg here a little bit later when they play Franklin County, another kind of Southeast Indiana rival game. And Meyer, the fine folks from Meyer have the big red chair. You need to see if you can climb up in that. I tried that once, could barely make it. But so Meyer's here on site, Skyline's on site, selling as well. And be remiss if we didn't mention Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. We'll have some of their docs on talking to us at future Showdown games. And here we go with the Tigers coming out, and they'll be doing their walk through the jungle a little bit later.
Is it me, or do you have like a favorite skyline? Because for me, like the Clifton skyline, it stays open a lot later.
Yeah.
That was always like I would drive further to go to that one than I would another
Houston Road in Florence. And even my kids, they all say what they get. Different ones, it's just different, right?
Yeah.
Atmosphere and the way.
I have different orders for different skylines.
Do you really?
Yep.
Now, why is that? That makes no sense.
I just sometimes feel that I get a better understanding than other ones.
All right. My favorite skyline is everyone.
That's
How about
a good
that?
answer.
Yeah, you
that's
got
a good. That's
so
an easy
speaking
answer.
of, do you have the right answer? When we continue, so as the season wears on, we'll probably get more. But I'm going to chart the record too.
Yeah,
we have what we're going to call Pike's Picks coming up next.
Which really, for me, like I never wanted to be a pick guy. Like picks to me was a negative.
You did. You're correct. You didn't want it, although
right. But now we've turned this into some kind of positive where I got to make picks.
And little did people know the game that spurned your bobblehead, you were almost picked right out of that game, right?
I threw picks.
Right.
I haven't made many picks.
3 games you're going to pick, including this one. When we continue, Pike's Picks, 1 from here in Southeast Indiana, this game, and 2 in Northern Kentucky. We'll do that next when we continue. It's the inaugural. Yes?
What about leaving the Orange Bowl being called Tony Pick instead of Tony Pike?
Well, look where it got you tonight.
Yeah.
You're listening to the inaugural Tailgate at the Showdown live from Lawrenceburg High School.
My mom used to take Logan and I to Skyline. Since I got my driver's license, now he makes me go with him all the time and drive him there. I come home and he's just like at the door and he's like, "Can we please go to Skyline?" I'm like, "Logan, chill, we just got home." But it's fine with me because I love it too. Because it's like the one place that we actually have like a conversation. That just became like something really special for us, and now we do it all the time and we just love it.
When it hurts to move, what often hurts most is the fact that you can't. Because every rebound is calling your name, and every dance should be danced. It's in moments like these that we step in to help you step back off the sidelines. Because it takes 2 to tango in this life, and you are meant to be the one. Mercy Health, healthcare for the universe of you. Find an orthopedic doctor at mercy.com/ortho.
There's a reason the kettle chips are so good at Meyer.
We cut our chips a little thick, cook them a little long, in batches that are a little small. So all our flavors are really big. At crunch time, that's why the kettle chips are so good at Meyer.
Jungle right here at Lawrenceburg High School. It's the inaugural Tailgate at the Showdown as we get ready for the kickoff of the 2019 Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown here in Southeast Indiana. Great rival game. The East Central Trojans at the Lawrenceburg Tigers. I'm Tom Gamble. He's former Bearcats quarterback Tony Pike, Panthers quarterback too, right?
You can feel now, like when we started,
you're right.
It was like, okay, we're getting it. Now you can feel like the game's close, like the season is about to get underway, and that's the most exciting time of the year.
No, it really is, and you can so still a lot of people hanging out here in the jungle. Want to thank everybody who arrived off early tonight, and I think they arrive off early every Friday night that they have games here for the tailgating here. And I'd be remiss before we get to your picks. Have you ever seen any book like this?
No.
I want to hold this up because this is a 2019 Indiana Football Digest. It weighs about 6 pounds, and it literally – you can see how thick it is. It literally has a team preview of every high school football team in the state of Indiana.
That's like what you get for an NFL or college football season.
It is, if not better.
Yeah.
And you know one thing, the Colts are intricately involved in the IHSAA, and which is pretty cool. Maybe somebody in Cincinnati should take a hint from that. But anyway, I digress. Okay. Pike's Picks. We're going to do it every week. Tonight we went kind of light. I'll save this game for last.
Okay.
So we've got 2 in Northern Kentucky. Again, the Northern Kentucky teams have the choice to either begin tonight and then take a bye or wait till next week and play 10 straight. Indiana has 9 regular season games that start tonight. Then they start their postseason. Everybody makes it. All right, so here we go. Let's start in Northern Kentucky. This is out in the area where I live. It is Cooper High School, which is located technically, I guess, in Union. And they will host Dixie Heights. Cooper's had kind of a couple years maybe where they were young, but they had a great run. They made it to the state final a few years ago. Dixie Heights, which also made it to the state final a few years back. They struggled last year. They were really young. They think, and I've been talking to enough coaches that think they're going to turn things around. Dixie Heights at Cooper. Who wins?
My first pick, this is a big pick. Close game last year. These teams are evenly matched.
They are.
You mentioned you still got youth. You still got guys coming back. This is going to be a close game. I'm even going scores. Cooper 21, Dixie 13 tonight.
Okay, so you have the Jaguars winning 21-13.
This has to feel like a 7-7, 14-13 halftime.
All right.
Comes down to the fourth quarter.
All right, so then the other game in Northern Kentucky, Covington Catholic.
Yeah.
Which had reeled off 2 straight seasons without a defeat until they lost in the state final last year. That's their only loss in 2 years. This game was rather lopsided. I know Ryle did not have the type of year that the Raiders expected last year after Tanner Morgan, who's now playing at Minnesota. They had a couple really good seasons. Ryle travels to Park Hills to take on Covington Catholic. They now have lights. They'll be there tonight. Covcath, Ryle, your thoughts?
Look, until they get knocked off the mountaintop, I got to roll with Covcath. I've watched Covcath on film. I've seen Mayer and what he's all about.
Yeah.
Offensively, defensively.
Yep.
He is going to be a catalyst for that team. They roll 35-7 tonight.
35-7. And the question is, Highlands, it's always been the Highlands Covcath.
Yep.
And really the winner of that typically either makes the state final or in many cases wins the state final. Last year, Highlands in the regular season lost only 21-14. A lot of people think they might
close
be.
The gap?
We'll see.
Yep.
And this will be the year, and of course they'll play again. And it's weird, they played at Highlands last year in the regular season. They're back there again because it's a new rotation of schedules. All right, so now the one here. We are at Lawrenceburg High School, Dick Meter Stadium, and we're in the jungle right now. But we'll be heading in with a lot of people. Many are already in there. Some are still waiting to go in. I think this is an interesting one, and I think it's a tough one. 15-14. East Central scored late 2 years ago when they renewed the series after taking 5 years off. East Central won by 1. Lawrenceburg won on a great roll. East Central obviously very good. Last year, 38-7, East Central at home. Now we're back at Lawrenceburg. Lawrenceburg more experienced after being really, really young. East Central still a lot of depth. They're 4A, Lawrenceburg 3A. I'm intrigued to hear what you have to say about this game because I think this has a chance to really be a good one.
This is going to be a great game. 1992, the last time Lawrenceburg won against East Central. East Central been at the top here as of recent years. I trained Garrett.
I know you did.
I work with Garrett.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, I'd be remiss. You do train quarterbacks. You trained Alex Maxwell, who Coach Miners mentioned is at Purdue. You trained some East Central. Now you train Garrett Kuhn, among other QBs around town. Well,
Garrett will appreciate this because when I'm training my quarterbacks, I'm asking for a lot out of my quarterbacks. I'm asking to go above what they think they can do. I'm asking to go above what maybe they thought their skill set was. So tonight, I'm going to do just the same because I know how Garrett has worked.
Pressure.
I know the off-season training that he's been in, and I know that when I've asked him to perform and say prove me wrong, that he has. So for that reason, I'll go East Central 28, Lawrenceburg 20.
Oh, okay.
So I'm taking East Central because I'm challenging my guy Garrett.
All right.
Who has, and honestly, I train a lot of quarterbacks. Garrett has put in just about as much work as any of the quarterbacks I've worked with. And that's saying a lot because they're driving from Lawrenceburg to Reading every Sunday to train.
You got a vehicle.
Well,
you can't drive over here?
I'm fitting a lot of guys in.
All right.
But they make the trips. They've put the work in the offseason, and you could just see it through the preseason. Garrett's ready to have a big year, and I'm asking him right now to prove me wrong in week 1.
Well, let me ask you. His numbers were staggering for a freshman. I mean, he threw for, 2,500-plus yards, ran for 694, accounted for almost 30 touchdowns running and passing. As a freshman, that's pretty darn
And he won't be asked to do that He won't be asked to do as much this year because you got to mention Gavin will be back,
Yes,
his brother.
His brother, not tonight. Right.
Not tonight. But they have talent around him.
They do.
They have at the running, and you heard Coach talk about it where it starts in the trenches. It starts offensive line. It starts defensive line. They're going to have what a better way to show that than tonight against your rival East Central.
All right, so we've got something pretty cool coming up momentarily. I think they're going to convene right out here. We'll be able to pick this up. Look at them, and see coaches, man, they're right on time. So we'll catch this. It'll be Lawrenceburg Tigers. We're live. It's the inaugural tailgate at the Showdown from Lawrenceburg High School.
But the nerves now, the nerves at this point, as we mentioned this earlier, seniors knowing that, hey, this might be my last home game that I start a season
Absolutely.
with. This is my last chance to go out as a winner in my first game. To go out as a winner in the right. I mean, think East Central, 1992, they've won this game. Think about now those Lawrenceburg seniors and this Lawrenceburg team to say, hey, we were the class that turned it around. We were the class that made a difference and set this program on an even higher level. That is the opportunity that this Lawrenceburg team has tonight.
Yeah, so let's set the scene here. The Lawrenceburg team, which just came off the field, they are lining up literally from our stage vantage point to the left here, right outside their locker room, and they're going to walk away from the stadium and make their way around through the jungle, back down as kind of a thanking the fans for being here early tonight. And, of course, I think they've chosen some appropriate music to do this. So
well, and again,
you
talk high school, you talk parents making the trips to practices, cleaning the jerseys.
So here we go.
Getting them to and from.
All right, let's let them
big
go.
Moment.
There you go. The Lawrenceburg Tigers, welcome to the jungle, because why? We're in the jungle, the tailgate area, and they walk the entire premises here. And this is pretty cool. You can get a reserved parking spot.
Yep.
And we apologize to those that we kind of made park at the top of the hill so we could be here tonight for our stage.
I think they're okay with it.
Well, they are. I think they are. And a big round of applause for – give yourself a round of applause, everybody in the jungle tonight,
Absolutely.
Huh? All the folks here. Lawrenceburg High School.
This is so much of what drives high school sports, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talk about in this area. And, again, I had a chance to play college football. I had a chance to play professional football. I had guys I played with in college that played for opposing teams and said when they came into Nippert Stadium, the environment at Nippert Stadium, I would have college players that would come to a high school game with me and say, what is this? So this is high school. And that can't be high school football.
Yeah.
It's not like that. And, I mean, we don't realize how impactful high school sports are.
No question.
In this region. We don't realize coming from different states and other parts of the country what this is. So this is special. The Showdown, 22 years, is special. And now this show, because we're getting a chance to kind of encompass and show everything. We
Absolutely.
get to show the cheerleaders, the bands, the coaches, the players, the little things like tonight, the walk through the jungle.
Absolutely, yeah, the traditions.
And you get to see, you mentioned these places we'll go this year. You'll see something different each time that says, okay, that's what makes this place special. This is what makes Lawrenceburg special. This is what makes Lakota special.
I went to a meeting, Loveland and Milford. They kind of collectively got together. We're walking down a hallway, and I hear all these people talking. I turn into this room. There were about 30 people from these two schools just to talk, and this was a couple weeks ago, about the game on September the 3rd. That's how jacked up they're going to be. That night's going to be a zoo, and we're doing 5 more of these. It's a lot of fun, and what we will do at each tailgate of the Showdown is we'll talk about, it's designed if you're going to a different game too, we'll talk about all the big games.
We'll get you there.
We will. Yeah, we'll talk a little high school football.
And because Joe and Jeremy do such a good job,
absolutely.
You follow this up, you get to the game, you go back, you watch Fox 19.
No question.
You see the final.
We got you covered.
Yeah, I mean, it's full encompassing. And like they said, they've always done the post-game stuff, but having a chance to do something pre-game for high school sports. You see the turnout tonight, week 1. It's just going to build from here. It's just going to get bigger from here. It is. It's nice to be able to recognize what high school sports are in this region.
Well, we'll take a final break here, and we'll come back and wrap things up, and then we'll let everybody get into the stadium, including us. So you can watch a little high school football. Let me try this again. You're listening to the inaugural tailgate at the Showdown live from the jungle at Lawrenceburg High School.
My friend Maddie's little brother Mac was always on me, just hounding me to try Skyline. Jay, try Skyline. Jay, try Skyline. I'm a little picky, so it took a while for him to really get me to go. One day we went, he got his food. He was like, can you try it? Just please try it. I tried it, and it was amazing. If it wasn't for him, I don't know if I would ever have tried Skyline. All right, Mac, let's go get some more.
When it hurts to move, what often hurts most is the fact that you can't. Because every rebound is calling your name, and every dance should be danced. It's in moments like these that we step in to help you step back off the sidelines. Because it takes 2 to tango in this life, and you are meant to be the one. Mercy Health, healthcare for the universe of you. Find an orthopedic doctor at mercy.com/ortho.
There's a reason the bananas look so good at Meijer.
This may sound bananas to you, but all I do is look at bananas. Because nobody sees our bananas until I say they've got enough appeal. That's why the bananas look so good at Meijer.
Welcome back to the jungle here at Lawrenceburg High School as we get ready for the kickoff of the 2019 Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown presented by Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Meijer. And look here.
We're going to stop this. We can't do this every week.
No. Why?
Been up here for an hour and a half with you.
Yeah.
I haven't ate yet. Now we're going to throw this up here for a whole segment?
And just to torture
Yeah,
you, right?
we can't do that.
No, not. Well, we're going to, trust me, we're going to eat them, just
absolutely.
not on camera. Certain things you don't want to do on camera, that would be one of them. He's former Bearcats quarterback Tony Pike, does a lot of work at all levels. I'm Tom Gamble, the Showdown organizer, radio, whatever. I just
extraordinaire.
I just do what everybody else tells me to do, including my wife tonight. But seriously, I want to thank everybody tonight. ESP Media, also. Eric, Jason, working the cameras. Want to thank the folks from Self Diploma, all the sound tonight. Cousin Vinny, who is Jake Miner's brother, and the folks from 96 Rock out tonight, and giving away. They're set up right by us here, giving away the discount passes to the. Make sure I get this right. The Land of Illusion Haunted Scream Park. A lot to remember, dude. So anyway, and Skyline Chili and Meijer for being on site as well. Now, there are some other games that we'd be remiss if we didn't hit on some of these. And again, most are in Northern Kentucky. They're in the immediate listening, viewing vicinity. And one's a small school game. Holy Cross, which has never had a home field.
Yep.
They are beginning a run tonight at Thomas More University. They host Bellevue, and Bruce Kozorski, the former Bengal, they won a state championship a few years ago, and they'll be playing tonight at Thomas More. That's their new home field. They'll play every game there. Dayton is taking on Bishop Brossart. They're playing at Campbell County Middle School because at Campbell County High School, and you train in Newcath, right? The Newport Central Catholic quarterback. They're going against Campbell County tonight.
Yeah, Paul Kramer is a quarterback. He's a senior this year. Expecting a lot out of him, and I know that offense is as well. But it's amazing. We talk high school football. You know, just the little things of having a home field. And having that, coming into a season, so much to look forward to. I'm amazed the high school game itself, because of things like huddle, how easy it is. I can train quarterbacks, and I can train Garrett, and afterwards we can turn on an iPad and watch East Central.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, it's crazy
compared to the days where you had to hope the film exchange, you had to hope they dropped off what they said they were going to.
They're going to drop off, and then make a highlight tape. You're putting it in the VCR. No, but to have this and to have the ability that these kids and these student athletes have now, it really does set them up for success, especially the kids that want it and they train in the off season because they want to be better.
Here's some other games. Highlands, we mentioned them. They were at Scott over in Taylor Mill. Here's an interesting one. Holmes is at Boone County. It's Bryson Warner.
Yeah.
His first game he played at Boone County, went on to be a standout at Western Kentucky, was the head coach at Ryle. In fact, took Ryle to their last state championship. Of course, they lost to Louisville Trinity like everybody else over there in the state final. But they're at home tonight. Let's see what else. Lloyd is at Walton Verona. Walton Verona's had a very nice program. Ludlow travels to Carroll County. Newport is at Harrison County. There's a lot of counties, and we mentioned Ryle, Covcath, and Cooper Dixon. So this would be an interesting one too. Lexington Henry Clay. They're playing at Lexington Lafayette High School with Simon Kenton.
Yeah.
Jeff Marksberry's done an outstanding job at Simon. In fact, they're 67-9 over the last 6 years, which is pretty impressive. And then there's one game tomorrow. Connor is at Madison Central tomorrow night.
I'm interested to see, and we mentioned this earlier in the show, Highlands tonight.
Yeah.
Because all the talk going in, and you saw it a little bit last year, is Highlands closing the gap. When I was growing up, Highlands was at the top.
Absolutely.
Covcath is at the top, and they've been at the top. They closed it a little bit last year. You get a good indication starting tonight if, okay, Highlands, maybe this is a contending team this year.
Some other games around southeast Indiana besides the one here, East Central at Lawrenceburg. Batesville's at Jennings County. That is one of note. Franklin County's at Newcastle. Rushville is at Milan. Drives me crazy when local news people call it Milan. We're not in Italy. We're in southeast Indiana. Right. If you don't know that, honestly, have a news director come in and ask how to pronounce something, right? And South Dearborn is at Seymour, so a pretty good slate. And again, week 1 of 9 straight, then everybody makes a postseason. I'm not a fan of that. That's just me.
Yeah,
I'm not. I know there are different schools of thought there, but I would prefer. I don't know. I know you like Kentucky because you get the 11 to play 10. But I don't like the districts. I mean, so based on geography, if you're in a 14 district, you all make it. So there are teams in the postseason 0-10.
Right.
And I know coaches don't like the one in Ohio. I have no issue with it.
I love the way Ohio does because it puts a premium on your schedule.
It does.
You got to schedule tough competition.
You do in theory, yes.
Look at that different team. And at the same time, like, you have to bring it every week.
Right.
I mean, if everyone makes it, you say, okay, let's just rest guys. This isn't important. It puts an importance on every game. And for the teams that get in that are 0-10 that go and get beat 60-0.
Well, that's not good for either team. No,
it's not a memory I want. Oh, I made the playoffs. Oh, how'd you do? Well, we lost. We went 0-11.
It's a memory, one you hope never comes back.
Correct.
The only thing that bothers me is those teams. So basically, you might have 8 teams and fewer than 20 competing for 8 spots. That's enough.
Right.
That's almost 50% at your same division in your region.
Yeah.
So if you're number 9, I'm sorry. Right. You aren't one of 8.
Right. And you know what that means? Get better in the offseason.
Yep.
And get there next year.
Right.
Use that as your fuel in the offseason. Because, like I said, it just puts more of an importance on each game that you're playing.
Well, I'll go back to this. Way back when they used to take 2 teams. Well, before 2, they took 1. And at the big school level, if you remember, Princeton played Moeller week 10, usually at Nippert Stadium. The winner of that game made it. The loser did not. Now, that's a little extreme.
Right.
Then they went to 2. Then they went to 4. Then they went to 8. So coaches, I just wish some coaches would practice what they preach.
Minus what happened to Elder a couple years ago.
Correct.
Other than that, I love the way that the format is.
Yeah, well, Coleraine went 8-2 one year and didn't make it either.
Yep.
Well, I remember back in the day, Withrow, Dale Mueller was a coach, went 10-0 and didn't make it.
Yep.
But I guess you can't give your kids all these slogans and tell them to do this and do that, and then whine about we were number 9.
Right.
That just tires me out.
Yep.
You're right, and I will tell you, there are some coaches who teach math. Not many, but some do. And I will tell you, they have statistical, they can break that schedule down, and they'll tell you why they're playing this team and that team and why they won't play the other team.
Correct. That's how it should be. And I think we're close. I mean, there's been a line here for about 15 straight minutes of people just trying to get in the gate. This is a big game for the teams. It's a big game for the fans. And for us. Because it's a rivalry game.
It's awesome.
It means high school football is back. You can say whatever you want about college, say whatever you want about the NFL. High school football is back. It's one of the best things because of how high school sports are in this area.
Well, here's what else I would tell you. Hopefully we can replicate this weather, which you know is going to happen. This will be maybe one of the cooler nights, and it's August 23rd. It feels awesome out here. If you're headed out to a game tonight, enjoy yourself, because you're going to have to look long and hard to find many games any better conditions-wise, and for these teams too.
I know you've got an answer for everything. Do you have an answer for bad weather this year? Because I don't do well in the rain.
Well, rain? Yeah.
I don't do well at all.
We're either going to go inside or not go.
How about just hold an umbrella up here?
No. And heat, I don't do well with heat.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the rain? You going to melt? Maybe that was a mustache problem. Well, you are. I forgot.
And again,
love
Jeremy, love Joe.
Yes.
The disrespect to the quarterback position on their top 19.
It's bad.
We're going to have a conversation going forward.
Well, we got plenty of time, and we'd be remiss if we didn't thank Lindsey Patterson from Cincinnati.com, Jason Hoffman from Cincinnati.com for carrying this, and they'll carry it each and every Friday night. Want to thank all the folks at Fox 19 Now. Joe and Jeremy, you check them out tonight on the final quarter. They do a great job. Check them out Sunday, the Sports Wrap, where they're having a couple more Showdown coaches on this Sunday, the following Sunday.
What they do to highlight high school sports
is tremendous.
It's truly amazing. You don't get that many
top
places
3.
around.
Can't wait to see it tonight on video, the top 3.
We're being told a minute. Okay. That means I have another minute before I can dig into these.
That's right. Well, I'm glad. That minute might be shortened.
As much as we like the wind, this breeze is blowing this skyline
right at us.
Right to me. So for the last 10 minutes, I've tried to listen to what you were saying, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, how do I get through this?
And a reminder to everybody out there, xtownshowdown.com and at xtownshowdown on Twitter. You can follow us, the event. But a big thanks to everybody from East Central and all the fine folks here at Lawrenceburg High School. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Hour and 45 minutes. I know.
It's your first one.
Maybe it's this.
Maybe some tea and honey next week.
Maybe I need a cough button. But anyway, welcome to the 2019 Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown presented by Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine in Meyer. Special thanks to the Lawrenceburg Skyline Chili for being here tonight, for feeding us as well. We'll be back with the Tailgate at the Showdown 2 in 2 weeks for Coleraine hosting St. Xavier.
Going to be a good one.
It is going to be a good one.
Coleraine has heard a lot this offseason.
Yes, they have.
That they are no longer the top dog.
You got it. Thanks to Eric, Jason, everybody at ESP Media, and everybody, Elliot, Rob, all the folks. Enjoy a great night of high school football. We'll see you in a couple weeks. You enjoy Skyline Chili. This has been the inaugural Tailgate at the Showdown from the jungle at Lawrenceburg High School.